It's Tuesday, October 12th, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Government to receive 7,000 single-dose shots of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine from Guyana today. Word of this from Prime Minister Mia Mottley, who also revealed that another 14,000 Pfizer doses are still to be delivered to the island after being purchased through the COVAX facility. Addressing the nation yesterday from Ilara Court, the Prime Minister further disclosed that close to 60% of persons eligible to receive COVID-19 vaccines have been given at least one dose. She said based on information from health officials, the weekly vaccination rates have been progressing at a steady rate, with almost all of those who received the first dose returning for the second.
We have to recognize that the class of persons to whom a vaccination can be given are those 12 and over. 142,543 have taken it. My friends, that is almost 60% of the eligible Barbadians who have taken it. Because once you have taken that first shot, you've already made up your mind to go along that route. And Major Clark and Dr. Ferdinand have advised me that virtually 99% of the persons who have come for a first jab come back for their second jab. That tells you that Barbadians are serious about this thing, and they're making sure that they comply wherever possible. It is in that regard that I'm happy to report that if we can continue at this level, believe you me, we will make it. But we equally have to recognize that we took a decision that we weren't going to mandate. And why? Because mandating means that I have to tell you, or we have to tell you, that somebody needs to put something in your body. We accept that. That is difficult, especially for adults. And we've said that we're not going there with adults.
Declaring that government fully respected the choice of some Barbadians to choose not to get vaccinated, the Prime Minister said her administration's duty was to encourage all citizens to get protected as a matter of importance.
But by the same token, I also have to remind you that we have a duty also to those people who do not want that thing which is in your body, which may be a virus, coming out to contaminate or infect them too. And therefore, there has to be a balance with respect to the duty of care that we have to all Barbadians. Let us be very clear that the lockdown, we know, does not and did not and will not work well. And in fact, there's a lot of mental fatigue, not just in Barbados, but across the world. The Prime Minister of Norway, Erna Solberg, has indicated that. There are a number of other countries that have also indicated that the mental fatigue after 19-20 months is making it difficult. We believe that in spite of that, that we have a duty to create a safe place and a safe zone. And that is why we feel that at this stage, we now have to take fresh guard and to look at what is possible.
Meanwhile, numerous private sector-led teams are conducting dozens of assessments and contact tracing with assistance from medical officers of health attached to polyclinics on the island. That's according to Health and Wellness Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, who anticipates that within 48 hours, outstanding issues will be ironed out, including nagging transportation problems.
So all of these things put together would give us greater capacity to move a bit faster with the home isolation process. And we expect that within a few days that we will be able to get this to the point where it is much more manageable, and so that persons who are at home that we want to get out, we will get out in good time. But I'm happy to say that a few hundred persons have been transported from home based on the assessment and the triaging process. And we've been able to move a few persons that we classify as red, or persons who are ill and needed urgent attention. That has been going quite well.
The onset of the COVID-19 pandemic caused the management of Barbados's law courts to undertake a radical relook at its methods of business and, in particular, the litigation process. That's according to Chief Justice Sir Patterson Cheltenham, who disclosed that in-person hearings became hugely problematic and dangerous with the dominant and pervasive nature of the virus. This is said facilitated a swift movement to the virtual world, which would have been unachievable in more sedate and normal times. Addressing a virtual ceremony to mark the opening of the 2021-2022 legal year, Sir Patterson said in spite of these disruptions, the Criminal Division disposed of some 157 matters between January and September this year. Presently, the courts are on pause for in-person trials, but the Chief Justice said certain infrastructural changes will be implemented for all who participate in the criminal process before the court can safely resume.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Regional news now in the Bahamas. Prime Minister Philip Davis says that the destruction of public property will not be condoned. He stated the position as he reacted to the destruction of the statue of Columbus erected in the front of Government House. We get more in this report from Our News Bahamas.
Days after a man hacked away at the Columbus statue at Government House, shattering the arm and right leg, Prime Minister Davis is condemning the actions, but he admits there is merit to the debate surrounding whether the statue is appropriately placed.
Whatever the historical significance and the protests that has come from it in respect to Columbus' presence or encounter with the Bahamas, that's one issue. In fact, I sympathize and empathize with some of the voices that are speaking to the fact of not rewriting, but realigning history so that its true facts are revealed and interpreted.
According to police, officers were summoned to Mount Fitzwilliam early on Saturday afternoon, where they met a man causing damage to the statue with a sledgehammer. The man, who was also found in possession of a bulletproof vest, was arrested and is being held at the Central Detective Unit. Video of his actions were widely seen online.
I do share and understand some of the sentiments, but this is not the way to express those sentiments by destruction of public property.
And finally, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged the world to take action and inject liquidity into the Afghan economy in order to avoid its collapse.
We need to find ways to make the economy breathe again. And this can be done without violating international laws or compromising principles. We must seek ways to create the conditions that would allow Afghan professionals and civil servants to continue working to serve the Afghan population. I urge the world to take action and inject liquidity into the Afghan economy to avoid collapse. Clearly, the main responsibility for finding a way back from the abyss lies with those that are now in charge in Afghanistan. If we do not act and help Afghans weather this storm and do it soon, not only they, but all the world will pay a heavy price. Without food, without jobs, without their rights protected, we will see more and more Afghans fleeing their homes in search of a better life. The flow of illicit drugs, criminal and terrorist networks will also likely increase.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.